One firing pass. The armored formation ahead is almost gone. That is the A-10 Warthog, a close air support platform built around a 30mm gun. The entire design serves one purpose: deliver firepower in the shortest possible time. On the other side is the Su-25 Frogfoot, a highly resilient structure. It can take anti-air fire, lose structural sections, remain airborne, and return to base. Both exist for the same requirement: direct impact on the ground battlefield. Effectiveness is measured in outcomes, mission completion, and return on capability. The A-10 is defined by its gun, a 30mm Gatling system, weighing over 4,000 pounds. The barrel sits on the center line. The entire airframe is aligned around it. The nose landing gear is offset. This creates space for the weapon system. Recoil during firing reaches approximately 10,000 pounds. Maintaining alignment is critical. It directly affects firing accuracy. The Su-25 follows a different structural approach. The cockpit is enclosed in a solid titanium armor shell. Thickness ranges from 10 to 24 millimeters. This allows the pilot to control, even under 23mm anti-aircraft fire. These characteristics translate directly into real operations. In modern combat environments, the results are clear. In Ukraine, air defense density is high. Low-altitude platforms operate under constant pressure. At least 40 Su-25 aircraft have been lost. Ukraine has recorded dozens of losses as well. These numbers reflect actual combat conditions. The Su-25 builds on the Il-2 experience from World War II, a mass-produced ground attack platform designed for operations near the front line. It can operate from rough, on forward airfields, without relying on developed infrastructure. Survivability comes from armor and structure, allowing sustained operation under low-altitude fire. The A-10 emerged after Vietnam. Combat experience revealed a clear limitation. High-speed jets were not effective in close air support. Speed reduced target observation. Resistance to low-altitude fire was insufficient. At the same time, the armored threat in Europe increased. A dedicated platform became necessary. It needed to destroy armored units and remain on station. The AX program began in the early 1970s. The gun was selected as the core system. The airframe was built around it. Two different structures, both focused on close-range ground support. The A-10 and the Su-25 feel different at first glance. The A-10 is larger and heavier. Maximum takeoff weight is about 51,000 pounds. Wingspan reaches 17.42 meters. The wing design supports low-speed flight. It extends time on station. The A-10 can operate below 300 kilometers per hour. At low altitude, around 300 meters, holding position for extended periods. Two General Electric TF-34 turbofan engines produce about 9,065 pounds of thrust each. Engine placement is critical. They are mounted high, near the tail. This reduces foreign object intake on rough runways. The tail structure also reduces exposure of exhaust heat from below. The Su-25 is more compact. Maximum takeoff weight ranges from 38,800 to 42,549 pounds. It uses two R195 or R95SH turbojet engines. Each produces about 9,930 pounds of thrust. Maximum speed reaches around 975 kilometers per hour at sea level. roughly 34% faster than the A-10. It shortens exposure time over the target area. The engine system also allows flexible fuel use in emergency conditions. The A-10 concentrates firepower into a central system. The GAU-8 Avenger 30mm cannon, nearly 6 meters long, over 4,000 pounds when fully loaded with 1,174 rounds. The barrel is aligned with the centerline. Recoil reaches approximately 10,000 pounds. This is comparable to the thrust of one engine. Alignment is required for stability. That is why the nose gear is offset. Rate of fire is about 3,900 rounds per minute. Highly concentrated firepower. High accuracy at our close range. The A-10 also carries up to 7,200 kilograms of payload. A GM-65 Maverick missiles, JDAM precision bombs, and additional weapon systems. The Su-25 distributes firepower differently. The GSH 32 30mm twin-barrel cannon, around 250 rounds. Rate of fire about 3,000 rounds per minute. The system is significantly lighter than the GAU-8. Primary strength comes from external payload. 10 hardpoints, up to 4,400 kilograms. Unguided rockets such as S-8, S-13, S-25, and freefall bombs. Large volume of ordnance delivered in short attack windows. In close air support, being hit is part of the operating environment. Both aircraft protect the pilot with titanium armor. The A-10 uses armor about 1.5 inches thick. The Su-25 uses armor ranging from 10 to 24 millimeters. Both can withstand 23 millimeter anti-aircraft fire. Fuel tanks are self-sealing. The A-10 maintains flight through redundancy. Load paths are distributed across the structure. Flight control includes mechanical backup. The aircraft can still be controlled even after hydraulic failure. Combat, and records show it returning with engine loss and major structural damage. The Su-25 relies on structural layout. Engines are separated. A fire-resistant barrier sits between them. If one engine is hit, the other can sustain flight. The compact structure reduces exposure area. Survivability depends on structure and time spent under fire. These platforms have operated in very different combat environments. Performance is not defined on paper. It is defined in actual missions. The next section moves into real operations, where results are measured in outcomes. Effectiveness becomes clear in actual combat. Both the A-10 and the Su-25 have extensive operational records, and when the numbers are placed side by side, the way each system is used becomes visible without much interpretation. In 1991, on Operation Desert Storm, the A-10 maintained a 95.7% mission readiness rate, a high level for a combat environment with sustained operations. It flew more than 8,100 sorties, with clearly documented results on the ground. 987 tanks destroyed, 501 armored vehicles, 1,306 trucks, along with large numbers of artillery systems and radar sites. This level of destruction reflects how the A-10 was applied, working the same areas repeatedly, using extended time on station to engage multiple targets in sequence. 2 helicopters were shot down using the 30mm cannon. This is rare, but it aligns with the engagement range and fire control the A-10 operates within. In a single day, Eric Solomonson and John Marks destroyed 23 tanks. 2 pilots. 1 day. a volume of targets equivalent to a battalion. That outcome is tied directly to time on target and firing precision, something the Su-25 typically does not sustain at the same level. Total losses during the campaign were 6 A-10 aircraft. Compared to more than 8,100 sorties, this is a low figure, and it reflects a condition where air defense pressure had already been reduced before the A-10 entered the area. In 2003, the case of Kim Campbell adds another reference point. Her aircraft took a missile hit to the tail and lost all hydraulic systems. She switched to manual control and returned the aircraft to base. That outcome is consistent with the design approach, not a one-off event. The Su-25 has been used across more than 40 conflicts, with Afghanistan as a defining example. From 1979 to 1989, approximately 60,000 sorties were flown. Average usage reached about 360 sorties per aircraft per year, a sustained operational tempo over multiple years, well beyond the duration of a single campaign like Desert Storm. The difference shows up in how time is used. The Su-25 cycles through missions continuously, with shorter exposure per pass, but higher frequency over time. When Stinger missiles were introduced, Soviet losses reached between 21 and 23 aircraft. This is higher than A-10 losses in 1991, and it aligns with operating in an environment where air defenses were not reduced in advance. Operations continued after that point. The aircraft was modified. Additional armor between engines, increased flare capacity, changes in attack profiles. The system stayed in use under the same conditions. During the Iran-Iraq War, about 900 sorties were flown. On some days, a single aircraft flew up to 15 times. That frequency exceeds typical A-10 sortie patterns, and it shows how pressure is maintained through repetition rather than concentration. In Chechnya, over 5,300 attack or sorties were recorded. In Syria, more than 1,600 sorties, with around 6,000 bombs delivered. These numbers do not peak in a single moment, but they accumulate over time, which defines how the Su-25 is applied. 8,100 A-10 sorties in 1991 produced 987 destroyed tanks with 6 aircraft lost. That points to high output per sortie within a controlled environment. 60,000 Su-25 sorties in Afghanistan, with 360 sorties per aircraft per year and up to 15 sorties in a single day, combined with 21 to 23 aircraft lost, reflect sustained pressure in a prolonged and less controlled environment. Placed side by side, the difference shows up in how effectiveness is distributed, either concentrated per mission or accumulated over time. These results were shaped by the conditions at the time. As those conditions change, the way these platforms are used changes with them. Radar coverage increases. Missile response time decreases. The next section moves into that environment, where previous advantages no longer hold at the same level. Past performance does not carry over cleanly into current conditions. Ukraine provides a different environment. Low-altitude close air support is now operating under continuous threat. Airspace is not controlled by either side. It is contested at every layer. That changes how both the A-10 and the Su-25 can be used. The airspace is saturated. On the ground, layered air defense systems cover short, medium, and extended ranges. Man-portable systems are distributed across the terrain. In the air, interceptors carry long-range missiles such as the R-37M with engagement ranges to up to 124 miles, or roughly 200 kilometers. This extends the threat envelope far beyond visual range. For low-altitude aircraft, exposure time becomes critical. The difference between staying on target and leaving early directly affects survivability. Loss data reflects the pressure. Confirmed visual evidence indicates that Russia has lost at least 41 Su-25 aircraft, with 38 confirmed destroyed. This makes it one of the highest-lost tactical aircraft types in the conflict. On the Ukrainian side, at least 22 Su-25 losses have been recorded. These numbers show a pattern. Armor protection alone does not offset modern missile density when operating at low altitude. The Su-25 continues to operate under these conditions, but the cost is clearly visible. The A-10 has not been committed into this environment at scale, and that absence is consistent with the same risk profile. Attack profiles have changed. Traditional dive attacks and direct gun runs are no longer sustainable under dense air defense coverage. A different method is used: loft bombing. Aircraft approach at very low altitude to reduce radar exposure. Near the release point, the nose is pulled up, and unguided rockets are fired along a ballistic, or arc. The aircraft then turns immediately and deploys flares during exit. This increases distance from short-range air defense systems. It also reduces accuracy. The shift is clear in how the platforms are used. Precision per pass decreases. Survivability during the pass increases. Adjustments are not limited to tactics. Hardware changes are visible. On the Russian side, the Su-25 SM-3 introduces the SOLT-25 electro-optical system. This includes thermal imaging, laser rangefinding, and up to 16 times magnification. Target acquisition is possible at approximately 8 kilometers, regardless of weather conditions. The aircraft also integrates the Vitebsk 25 defensive suite. This system detects incoming missile signatures in the ultraviolet spectrum, interferes with guidance systems, and deploys countermeasures automatically. This shifts survivability away from structure toward detection and disruption. On the Ukrainian side, a different solution appears. Older Su-25 aircraft have been adapted to carry AASM hammer-guided bombs. These munitions combine glide capability with a rocket-assisted extension. Release can occur at low altitude while still maintaining standoff distance. This changes on engagement geometry. The aircraft no longer needs to enter the densest part of the air defense zone. Operating at low altitude under dense missile coverage, losses reach at least 41 Su-25 on one side and at least 22 on the other. At the same time, attack profiles shift toward loft delivery, trading accuracy for distance. System upgrades focus on sensors and electronic protection rather than additional armor. Across both sides, the same adjustment appears. Distance from the target increases. Time over the target decreases. The operating model has changed. Aircraft designed for close engagement are now releasing weapons from outside the highest risk zones. That raises a direct question. If engagement distance continues to increase, what role remains for platforms built around low-altitude attack? The next section addresses that question directly. Ukraine has repeatedly requested the A-10 Warthog. The logic is straightforward. The aircraft exists in storage in the United States. The demand for ground firepower in Ukraine remains high. The hesitation comes from the operating environment. The issue is not availability. It is survivability under current conditions. The A-10 has a maximum speed of about 420 miles per hour, or roughly 675 kilometers per hour. This is about 34% slower than the Su-25. In a dense air defense environment, that difference directly increases exposure time. Radar visibility is higher. Flight profile is more predictable. Time over the target area is longer. All of these factors increase the probability of detection and engagement. Under conditions like Ukraine, this configuration carries elevated risk. The A-10 delivers strong results when air defense pressure has already been reduced. When airspace is stabilized, time on target and precision become advantages. Without those conditions, risk increases faster than effectiveness. The United States Air Force has already made a retirement decision. 56 A-10 aircraft are scheduled for removal in the near term. The full fleet is expected to retire between 2026 and 2029. This decision is not based on past performance. It reflects projected operating conditions. In a peer-level conflict, airspace is expected to remain contested. Low-altitude operations carry significantly higher risk. Close air support does not disappear. It shifts across platforms. Heavy strike roles move to high-speed, high-altitude aircraft. F-35, F-15EX, Su-24. These platforms use advanced sensors and deploy guided munitions from standoff distances. JDAM and UMPK systems can be released from 50 to 70 kilometers. That distance keeps the aircraft outside the highest risk zones. At the same time, direct support roles move toward unmanned systems. Tactical UAVs. First-person view drones. Unit cost is low, often only a few $1,000s. Precision at close range is high. They operate at lower altitude. They maneuver through terrain. Loss does not involve a pilot. These two directions appear together. One extends engagement range. The other reduces cost and risk at close distance. Both the A-10 and the Su-25 were built for close-range engagement. In current conditions, both operate at increased distance from the target. That shift reduces their original advantages. The A-10 loses sustained low-altitude presence over the target. The Su-25 reduces effectiveness when forced to stay further out. Other platforms are filling that space through different approaches. The A-10 Warthog and the Su-25 Frogfoot have both demonstrated high effectiveness under the conditions they were designed for. Combat data supports that. Those conditions are no longer consistent. Engagement distance is increasing. Exposure time is decreasing. Close air support still exists. The method has changed. Low-altitude manned platforms are no longer at the center of that role. This shift has developed gradually. At this point, the pattern is clear.